Hello readers, welcome back to Notes from the Shelf, where every book finds its reader. I'm Sarah, and today I'm going over my Winter TBR Bingo results. So this is the card I have. I did not get a bingo, but I did read 5 books, so I think that's pretty good. The first book I read was under 250 pages. It was The Writing Life by Annie Dillard. I thought this would be more advice, but it ended up being more of a memoir about her life, and I don't really know anything about her writing. I know she did win an award, I think, but yeah, I've never read anything of hers, so it was just how she's been writing and kind of a memoir. So I was a little disappointed by that. I thought it'd be more advice, but it was still a good read. Next was A Blue Cover, which I did count this book, This Story Might Save Your Life by Tiffany Crum. There's enough blue on the cover, I felt like it counted, and it's my challenge, so I counted it. This is a debut, it just came out. It was actually really good. It's about these co-hosts for a podcast, a survivalist podcast, and then the woman goes missing. And the co-host, he is accused of getting rid of her, and he's trying to piece together kind of what happened with her. Where is she okay? Because she disappears with her husband. So I thought that was like really interesting. It does go back and forth. There are 2 parts. So the first part is his POV and then her manuscript that's not finished yet. So as you read that manuscript, you kind of see how her relationship with her husband was, and it gets a little unsettling. And then part 2 is a different POV and his POV still. So it was really good kind of piecing it together and each part of information you get. So actually I gave it 5 stars. Thought it was really well written for a debut. So I was really happy with that. Next was a chilling thriller. So I read 59 Minutes by Holly Seddon. I think this is a US debut. I think she's more of a UK author, but this was really good. Each chapter, so the whole idea is that a nuclear strike is going to happen in London, basically, and you have 59 minutes to get to your loved ones before it happens. And everyone gets a countdown on their phone, and all hell breaks loose. So I thought it was really interesting. Each chapter kind of gives you a countdown, so it makes it feel like more like thrilling, because it's like, oh, now she only has 5 minutes left before this happens. And I thought that was a really good way to write it. I also thought it was super believable, like what happened and how it kind of just deteriorated in 59 minutes, and people just kind of became animals just to get to where they need to go and survive, and there were a lot of tough choices, and I thought it was really believable, like really well written. And then the aftermath of it too was really interesting. I also found that to be pretty believable, that something like that would happen, and it was just kind of sad, but I don't want to give too much more away. So I did give it 5 stars. I would definitely recommend this if you like thrillers. Next was a book published in winter, in between like December and February. So I chose One and Only by Maureen Gu. This is a romance. It's a love triangle. So the whole premise of this is that her family actually has some kind of magical ability where they can see like you're fated in like your past life. So they can see you, and they can see like kind of the red string of fate and who your fated is, and so they have a matchmaking business that's 100% accurate. And the main female character, she has been waiting for her fated for the last 10 years, and he has not shown up. So she ends up deciding to date, I think he was like 29 and she's about to be 40, but she ends up deciding to date this very young guy, and she has a lot of fun with him and stuff, and then she goes to a work trip with him and finds out that his boss is her fated. So it gets super messy from there, as you can imagine, like a love triangle with a guy and his boss. So a lot of feelings come up with it. Like, it was very well written. I think this was also a debut, so I was surprised how well written it was. It was really interesting. It really highlighted like the logical choice, because his boss is like the same age as her, and on paper everything looks amazing, but she doesn't get the feeling she got with the other guy. So it's logic versus feelings. Like, she's been waiting for this guy for 10 years, but now it's happened, and maybe it's not what she thought it would be. So she has to decide, like, do I go with this fated person that's the logical choice, or do I, pick this adventure with this other guy and I don't know how it'll turn out. So I really liked that a lot. The last book I read was a debut novel as well, Best Offer Wins by Marissa Cashino. This is kind of about like the COVID crisis, like housing crisis during COVID, and what would you do to secure a house and for like security and your family. So she and her husband, they're getting a little older. She wants to have a baby, but they're in like a 1-bedroom apartment, so she doesn't feel like they can do that until they find a house. And her realtor actually says that she found someone who is going to be putting their house on the market. So she's trying to do that thing where you give them an offer under the table before it even goes public, and then you secure the house. So she tries to do that, but it definitely gets a little stalkery, like a little scary, and they clock that and they're like, you are insane, so we're not selling our house to you. And then she gets even more extreme as the book goes on. So I don't know, I didn't really like how far it went. I feel like it went way too far, like the things she did to get this house, and I thought it was so unrealistic. Like, the things she did, she had no consequences for. Like, she ends up with the house and like ends up being pregnant with like a daughter. Like, she gets every single thing she's ever wanted, and like she seriously went way too far to do it. And there's no consequences at all. So I just don't find that happening. Also, like, along the way, there were things that were a little too convenient for the plot, and I don't really like when that happens either. Where, like, she literally sounded insane, like, trying to connect these dots to, like, find someone. And then it ends up being, like, true. Like, how she connected these dots. It's like, when you're hearing, it's like she's almost schizophrenic. Because when you're hearing her explain how she's, like, finding this person, and it's like, no, girl, you're gonna realize that this is insane, and you are insane, and you need help. And then it ends up being exactly how she said it would be. And I'm like, no. So honestly, I didn't really like it for that reason. I think I gave it 2 stars even, but I don't know, it is a shorter book than some of these other ones, and it was a really fast read. That's the only reason I finished it, I feel like. But, if you are fine with no consequences for someone, then you might like it, but I thought it went a little too far. But those are what I read for my Winter TBR Bingo. I will say that I thought I would read more, because usually January and February are the months that I read the most. I read like 8 books a month for those, and it starts the year strong. And this year that did not happen. Work was really crazy, and also like I'm engaged, we're planning a wedding, so it's just been a really crazy time. So I'm hoping spring will be better for that. So this is my spring TBR. So I think maybe went a little too Eastery on it, but I really like the pastels. I feel like that's spring, and I made a tulip for the middle, which is my favorite flower, and those are one of the first flowers that bloom in spring, so I thought that was nice. So if you want a copy of this for free, you can go to notesfromtheshelf.com. I'll put the link for the blog post in the description if you want to download and join my challenge. I will say my TBR, my physical TBR currently is at 162. So that didn't really work for spring. I'm hoping I can read a lot more. or well, it didn't work for winter, I meant to say, but I'm hoping I can read a lot more for spring. I think that will happen. I will probably buy a lot less now in spring than I did in winter because there were some like limited edition books that I wanted, and I went a little crazy on Book of the Month a couple months ago. So that's where my TBR stands. I'm hoping spring will kick it up a notch and I'll be able to finish more books and talk about more next time. The blog definitely has a lot more information on it, a lot more posts. I post 2 times a week over there still. So if you want more content, a lot of it's over there at notesfromtheshelf.com. I will be making 2 to 4 videos a month now, so if you want to stick around for those, make sure you subscribe. Also, please subscribe to the vlog. And until next time, happy reading.